Joining me now to discuss it is North Dakota Republican Senator John Hoeven. Senator, good evening to you, and welcome to the program. You know, McConnell makes a great point there. You write the legislation, and then you approve it. I think a lot of people would say, when we're talking about numbers this big, you do not just write a blank check.
Well, that's exactly right, Jackie. We need to see what's in the bill, and it's still a work in progress, and that means not only how the money's spent, but how it's paid for, right? And so we want to see something that doesn't increase taxes and that doesn't increase the deficit. And it's doable because we can repurpose money, the coronavirus money from the American Rescue Plan, and it can be accomplished, but we're going to have to see it first.
Well, part of the problem, rather, is how you define infrastructure, right? We've been talking on the program about all the things they want to kind of cram in here because they're looking at the midterms and saying, we may lose seats, the dynamics may shift here. Whatever we want, we better try to push it through now.
Well, that's exactly right. And so we're saying this has to be hard infrastructure, roads and bridges and ports and that kind of thing that people think of as infrastructure. It can't be a bunch of social spending. And again, we don't want to see tax increases. So that's the bipartisan package that we're working toward. As you know, Democrats also have a big tax and spend bill separately that they want to pass as well, which would be bad for America. And obviously Republicans are not supportive of that and won't support it. But if we're going to do infrastructure, it's got to be done right, just like we're talking about.
And Senator, we are in an economic environment right now that is putting strain on a lot of American families across the country. Inflation, transitory, according to the White House right now, is hitting us at the pump. It's hitting us in the grocery store. It's hitting us when we go out to eat, when we go to buy clothes. There is one restaurant that I go to that keeps literally weekly raising its prices. At a certain point, that will have a chilling effect on the economy. These are all taxes to a certain extent, right? And you talk about the administration potentially raising taxes further on Americans to pay for this spending. And you have to ask yourself, whose responsibility is it to pay for this? Do we have to have a better way to go forward and have a better balanced budget?
Jackie, that's absolutely right. Inflation, we've seen the largest spike in inflation since 2008, 5.4% year over year. And inflation is a tax on everybody, no matter how much you earn. That inflation hits everybody. Look at gas prices. You just did a very good piece and very important piece on the Nord Stream 2 and how we need to be promoting American energy, and we should be blocking things like Nord Stream 2, which helps Russia. That's exactly the wrong thing to do. We need to be promoting energy here. So gas prices is just one example. Across the board, we're seeing that inflation, and that's a tax on everybody. And so more tax and spend will just increase that inflation. And again, that's not what we should be doing.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because the hypocrisy is so powerful here when we talk about infrastructure by definition, right? Pipelines, energy infrastructure, that is part of that. Yet you've got an administration saying, no, we want to cancel the pipelines. But our infrastructure bill, well, we want that to focus, for example, on amnesty.
Right, that's what I'm saying. This has to be about hard infrastructure as Americans know it to be, and that's everything from pipelines, roads, bridges, all those kind of things, not a bunch of social spending. So again, it's about not raising taxes, it's about not increasing the deficit, it's about making sure that we focus on hard infrastructure. And on the energy front, hey, my state's a huge energy state. Let's promote American energy. That's not only good for jobs and the economy and actually helping bring inflation down, it's good for national security.
It's so interesting when you look at the Biden administration and compare it to previous administrations of the past. I remember watching Bill Clinton with his policies, and he came into office and he kind of had the guns blazing at first. But then when he realized that, re-election may not be possible, he very quickly came to the center. This is an administration that doesn't seem to sort of be reading the tea leaves, if you will, and just kind of is trying to push forward with this agenda at any cost.
Right, and that's why if we repurpose money that's already been appropriated out of the coronavirus bills, including that American Rescue Plan, that $1.9 trillion that the Democrats passed unilaterally, if we repurpose that money and use it for hard infrastructure, then we're not raising taxes, we're actually helping reduce debt and deficit, and we're getting that hard infrastructure that Americans want.
Senator, great to see you. You're making far too much sense. We'll have to have you come back on again.
Thanks, Jackie. Appreciate it.
Talk to you soon.